Hey folks, welcome back to the Stitch Up. Please welcome as well my very regular guest host at this point, Hugo Ferrand. Hugo, so good to be here again.
Hey, bloody
talking
pleasure,
the Justice League.
Doing it justice.
Doing it justice, that's right. We're up to episode 3 of our review of the Snyder Cut. I say review.
How long is our review compared to the movie? Shorter, right?
You know what it is? It actually is. Okay. We shot like 2 hours of raw footage for the last 2 episodes. And then we'll come back here and do, this is the third one. So it'll probably still be shorter than the flick.
Even the amount of time we've sat down is shorter.
It's a shorter period. It took me, and that includes setup time of all this. You know.
So, I mean, that's the way it should be. We shouldn't review a movie for longer than the movie.
Than the movie goes for. No, that's some sort of weird paradox you get into.
Yes, that would be a problem.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have a sip of this tea.
There it is. Doubly.
And it's an Audrey Hepburn cup. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
So we're up to part 5. As we call it in Justice League times, we call it All the King's Horses. But here at the Stitch Up, we're going to be calling it
Soupty Dumpty.
Soupty Dumpty. That's the best name for a band I've ever heard. So now Soupty Dumpty, I mean, this section, this part starts with grave robbery number 2.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. They're digging up Superman's corpse.
Yeah, more Frankenstein. It's if you're going to reference something, it's the Jaws of horror fiction
literature. Yeah,
we
were just
or even
talking
science
about
fiction. Sorry, we were just talking about Jaws.
Yeah.
Science fiction. Just the science fiction, fantasy, horror.
Mm.
It's that much of a touchstone.
More than Dracula.
Equally, I'd say.
You can hear the cat.
Dracula's equal footing. But Dracula's based on a myth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Based on an actual...
It's based on something. It's based
yeah.
on something in history, historical fantasy. Yes, Peachy, come for a cuddle.
She's so chatty.
Yes, she sure is. Hey, Peachy, should we mic you up? Whereas Frankenstein is just an invention of Mary Shelley. Right?
Mary Shelley, yeah.
And so it's just purely sprung from the imagination of the time.
Yeah.
And so I put it's at least punching at its weight or above its weight in terms of a contribution.
I haven't read it since I was in high school, so it's sort of...
Well, I don't know that I've ever read the whole thing, but just it's all the movies and stuff like that. Like it's a touchstone.
Yeah.
It's a massive pillar stone of human horror imagination.
You know what you should do? If you like Frankenstein, don't watch I, Frankenstein.
Okay.
Just a little tip, little hint.
Well, there is a massive aside about grave robbing. Anyway, so there's a weird thing about grave robbing in this movie.
It happens twice.
It's always Cyborg doing it.
Yeah.
His name's Victor Stein.
Ooh.
And so it's just like, and
my tea inquisitively.
He's a Frankenstein. He's a Frankenstein cyborg.
Allegorically, there's some Frankenstein going on.
So I just think this is more. I mean, you wouldn't say of all the things that Zack Snyder has, you wouldn't say a light touch.
No,
It's one of them.
No,
he's heavy-handed.
Yeah,
and I think he's just like, well, what's my Zack Snyder like? Oh well,
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Dead on. Yeah.
Oh well, it's like Frankenstein did. So like, he's gonna rob graves, dude. Such a funny character.
He's a funny dude. But hey, like you said, I mean, he leans hard into everything he does, and he commits. Like you've got to give him credit.
Absolutely. So anyway, the fact that it's not just one grave robbing scene that Victor Stein is involved in.
Yeah. And now we're doing Superman. We're digging up Superman's corpse to reanimate him using the mother box. Wonder Woman and Aquaman have a really nice chat about the feud that went on between the Amazons and the Atlanteans.
Oh yes,
and which is more of a movie that I would like to see.
Is this where we get the flashback? The big flashback?
No, that's already happened.
It's already happened.
We're already there. They're just talking about how their societies had fought at one point.
Yeah.
And
had they done presumably a lot of punching?
Yeah, plenty of punching, but then they find common ground and it's beautiful. And then the best joke of the whole thing is Flash sort of looks at Wonder Woman and he's like, oh, that the Wonder Woman, whatever, Diana. Oh yeah, she's really beautiful. I think she goes for younger guys, and Cyborg says, Barry, she's 5,000 years old. Every guy is a younger guy. I'm like, that lands.
That's pretty good.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's all right. Is Barry Allen known like Peter Parker for being an awkward guy with the ladies or something?
Well, that's the thing. He's a grown up. No, he's not an awkward guy with the ladies. He's a ginger Lothario. Like, people enjoy him.
Okay.
And the funny thing is as well, I don't know if we mentioned this in one of the other parts. I'll cut it out if I did. But Barry has his powers, right? Presumably as a early 20 something, right?
In this movie?
In this film, right? And then at the end of the film, he tells his dad.
Oh yeah, go on.
He comes in with the thing, and he's like, I got a job at the crime lab. Okay. I'm like, well, then how the fuck did you get your powers? Because that's where he gets his powers in the books.
Is it?
He works in the crime lab. He's a forensic specialist, and the lightning comes through the window and hits a rack of chemicals that he's working in front of, and it douses him in the lightning, and it happens.
Gotta watch that. That's health and safety.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not expecting lightning to come through the window.
You should.
Did you hear that, everyone? Safety tip from Hugo. Expect lightning at all times.
Could come through the window.
Even when it's not storming. It could be sunny outside and lightning could still happen. I just found it weird that they... And then he talks a little bit later about how... excuse me. He's like, I tap into this thing I called the Speed Force. Well, man, how the fuck do you know what that is?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
well, he's also got... that's the thing. He's also got this crazy lair. He's got like a bat cave.
Yeah,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Where
he's watching K-pop videos and Rick and Morty.
But it's like those things aren't free. All those things. How are you funding this?
Yeah, especially if your dad's in prison and you don't have a job.
Dad's in prison. He's unemployed. He's seriously looking for a job, but he's affording rent on some place in the inner city, like
a loft.
Well, that's not cheap.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me he was in a shed out in the countryside like this, I'd maybe believe you.
Barry Allen lives here in Trentham.
Well, like he's squatting, but he's not. He's in some premises that requires rent. It looks commercial even. And
he's got a suit that's made out of stuff they used on the space station or whatever it was.
Right. And how easy would it be? How quick would it be to just throw in a thing of Batman buying this shit for people?
Yeah.
Because that's what should have happened, right?
Yeah, I've been getting money from some unknown source for years, and he's like, I've been funding you for ages. That'd be pimp.
That would be pimp. That would be good. And so it's just one of these weird things. Like, they turn up in these suits that just like, oh, it's the suit similar. It's like a Snyder version of the suit from the comic book.
Yeah.
But why? Where did he get it from? How do you that shit costs money? Even if it's just a few $100 for a fake suit. That's a lot of money for an unemployed kid. But it's not that. It's supposed to be something that protects him when he's traveling near the speed of light. There's some serious engineering in a suit like that.
Oh, yeah. And the way that it's kind of sectioned as well. Mm-hmm. Like, there's give to parts of it that, maybe that's why he runs funny. Like we talked about last week.
Speed skating. Yeah.
Like that. Discus. Maybe that's got something to do with it. But also... You know what it is?
Yeah.
He's fucking stealing all this shit. He's flashing his way in and out of places and stealing stuff. It's the only explanation.
Which I'm cool with. Like Batman getting him over the line secretly by funding him. Suddenly he's got...
Or maybe he breaks into some place that's got Wayne tech and Batman doesn't do anything about it.
Nice.
Yeah. See, that works. See, we're writing a better movie. We're not even trying.
Well, this is the thing. So we, I think overall, we enjoyed the movie, but damn.
Yeah. Oh, there's some holes.
And it's like drafting.
Yeah.
And so this thing about the Flash's uniform, it seems like a stupid thing to discuss, but I don't think... Let me think off the top of my head. Cyborg's actually built. He's a robot. Batman's rich, so he's got that. Superman got his uniform from the spaceship.
From space.
Wonder
Woman gets all her shit from Themyscira.
From she's a mythical creature. They wear that kind of clothing. And who's the other? Aquaman's from an undersea empire. Okay, the Flash is the odd one out. He can't just turn up with this light speed proof suit all of a sudden. Or if he does, you mentioned this trope. I don't know if it applies, but what was the gun thing you mentioned last time? The gun, Chekhov's gun or something like that?
Chekhov's gun, yeah.
Chekhov's gun.
When if you see a gun in the first act, it has to go off in the third.
Okay, right.
But it doesn't have to necessarily be an actual gun.
So the flip side to that is if a gun goes off in the third act, it must have... Do you know what I mean?
Been present. Yeah. The reverse
is also
surely
true. Applies.
Yeah.
So can we is that still the same principle, or can you call it like a reverse Chekhov's gun?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, okay, let's call it a Chekhov's backfire.
Yeah. Chekhov is really pissed off that you've annexed his idea.
But the point is, like, so the uniform is a gun.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, but without it appearing, without it having any explanation, it's just a kind of glaring one that you suddenly go, oh, he's dressed like that because the comic book character's dressed like that. And that's all. Yeah. There's no other reason for it.
Yeah.
And so it does rankle a little bit. That's all.
I get it. And where, like, you can apply logic to other parts of this.
Yes.
That one kind of slips through the cracks.
But also because it would have been so easy to do.
Yeah.
It would have been so easy and satisfying to do.
You explain it away
like the Batarang thing that we discussed last time of him throwing Batarangs at random kids.
And killing them, that's right, I forgot you said that.
but it would be so much better if he did what you suggested. Like, he's been funding this kid, and he turns up, he does the Batarang thing confidently because he knows it's him, and then he goes, by the way, something like he's like walking funny or whatever. He's like hobbling. He's like, oh, what happened? He's like, yeah, I went a bit too fast and I got I was grabbing hot dogs.
I was trying to grab these hot dogs out of the air,
and it fucked up my feet. He's like, cool, I got something for you.
Yeah,
and he opens the boot up and there's a fucking uniform.
Is that your Ben Affleck?
I'm trying not to do. I got something for you. Because I can't really do that when it hurts my throat. I don't know how Christian Bale did it either. He didn't do it. Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah,
It fucked him up.
Yeah,
to do it.
Absolutely. So let's run through a few of the interesting parts here that we're at after the grave robbing. We've got breaking into a government factory dressed as superheroes. It probably would have been easier had you just tried to break in as normal people.
Yeah.
The bat suit looks particularly cumbersome at this point. It just looks very puffy, but maybe that's your fat fleck.
Fat fleck. No, I don't know about that. I think that Snyder loves. He just loves the Dark Knight Returns. What was the original Frank Miller comic called?
Dark Knight Returns, yeah.
Dark Knight Returns. He loves it.
Yeah.
And so he wants that stocky.
He leads hard into it.
He really wants that look.
That's why you hire someone who's 6'3".
Is that how tall Affleck is? Yeah.
He's a big guy. And then in the boots and whatever.
Like. Yeah. So I mean, that's what he likes. That's the aesthetic he likes. That's the color coding he's going for. I don't dislike it either.
Overall, the potential of the movie, I think, greatly exceeds its end result. I think there's a lot of really good little movies going on here, like the busting into an installation to steal a mother box and resurrect Superman as they do at this point. And they teasing Barry's speed, the way that he affects speed, like he says, when I run that fast, time does weird things. Like that's another Chekhov's gun, kind of thing going on. All this stuff kind of happens. And then you've got the whole Superman section of the film, which doesn't happen until 2 hours and 33 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, bonkers.
And then you have what's probably the best scene of the film is him fighting the rest of the Justice League. It's the one that hits hardest in terms of its comic book origins. I think it feels the most like a comic book.
Yeah.
Like where Superman raises up after Wonder Woman headbutts him and he's like, fuck you, and like flies up a little bit and then headbutts her into the ground.
Yeah.
Like that's a absolute comic book move.
Yeah. The weakness of the writing starts to really, really play its hand here, I think. Just because of the fact that the Batman being the master strategist must have thought of this eventuality. He can't be totally blinded by his emotion. That's not Batman.
Yeah.
But he is in this kind of movie. So what I would like to have seen here, armchair quarterback kind of vibe. But what I would have liked to have seen here is just better planning on Batman's part, where he's just like, this could happen, guys. So this is what we're gonna do. Cut scene. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cut. And then we don't know what he said.
Yeah.
But then it seems like they line up. And it seems like it's going to shit, but then a plan comes to fruition.
Yeah.
Not Martha wandering in at the right time. Oh, sorry, what's her name?
Lois.
Lois. Not Lois wandering in at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, that's really convenient. And it's set up that, she's there giving coffee to Mark McClure all that time, and, which is the cop. She's in the Joss Whedon cut, and like I said, not to compare them too much, but in that film, you don't have that part, and Lois is set up. Like Batman has set Lois up as his secret weapon. He's like, when we resurrect Superman, I've got an ace in the hole, and he doesn't say what it is. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, she comes in, and he's orchestrated that. In the Snyder cut, it's by happenstance, which
is better, but still, I mean, it's it's what Joss was working with. But that's not enough for Batman. Batman's supposed to be the ultimate strategist. No one in the entire universe can be more paranoid than Batman.
Yeah.
He's got to have thought of every eventuality, like a chess game, thousands and thousands of moves ahead, and thought of everything because he has no powers.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So Joss's idea of making it Bruce's plan is pretty good. But it's not enough. He should have already been maneuvering these pieces who are superpowered, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and the Flash, maneuvering them into a team that together are able to delay Superman sufficiently for him to then bring in the Ace.
Yeah.
But
in this case being Lois. Yeah.
And so, there's so many ways that could have happened.
Yeah. I like the idea that you said that the strategy because he's human. That's why you do this. You get wonderful insights like that because I've never thought of it that way. The reason he is paranoid could be the word for it, absolutely. But the reason he is so dedicated to planning and having an escape and a reason for everything. It's like in the Mark Waid JLA series, I think it was called Tower of Babel, where Batman has figured out a way to systematically take out every single member of the Justice League, and those plans get stolen by a bad guy named Prometheus. And they're like, at the end, Superman's like, why did you do that? Like, you're supposed to trust us, we're a team. And he's like, none of those things were made to kill. They were made to incapacitate.
Yeah.
Prometheus took it to the next level and made it to kill. He's like, you still shouldn't have them. And he goes, it's Batman to Superman saying, if you don't understand why we need this, then you shouldn't have me in the Justice League because we're not on the same page. Like, these are the most powerful beings on the planet. There's an out plan for me too, and that's you. You would ever stop me if something happened. You know what I mean? I can trust you, but who would stop you? Fucking amazing. That's great Batman. And that's, if you had that in that scene, you're absolutely right. It would have elevated so much.
Yeah. It's just an opportunity.
Yeah.
Again, not standing here being armchair critic, although literally being an armchair critic. But
4 stars.
Yeah.
That's my critic voice, by the way.
5 out of 7.
Yeah. Gonna go on the internet and shout about this.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I just feel like it could have been elevated by that.
Yeah. Any more character stuff? I think it was so focused on propulsing the story forward at a quite a clip.
Yes.
That it sacrificed a lot of character stuff. Apart from Cyborg, he got a lot of his, he got a lot of business done on his end.
Yes.
And that's great.
I think I'm always coming back to the South Park guys. Didn't they say something like, when you're plotting out your story, it can never be linked with
and then. Yeah, you've told me this. Yeah.
Was it me?
We did it on the Batman v Superman episode.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because it's just a perennial problem with Zack.
Yeah.
Or whoever his writing team is. I mean, I put this a lot on the writing guys, to be honest with you. Yeah. And then Lois shows up.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. You just cannot.
And I hate using the word organic. People use it too often when they're talking about storytelling. Something that happens organically, because nothing happens organically because you're writing the story.
Precisely.
But it should feel connected to like how the story is unfolding, as opposed to a contrivance to get you to a place.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's the hardest thing. Whenever I'm writing something and I go back and I read shit and I'm like, that scene is only there in order for this to work.
Precisely.
Well, how do I get there in a different way?
Precisely.
Like, arrive late, leave early is always a good plan.
Nice.
with scenes.
But and then so sorry. Just back to this point, just to drill it home. Batman's in this team. It's the Justice League. That's been his perennial role. He has to be the smartest guy in the room. He has to be. Otherwise, what's he doing there?
He has nothing else to really offer.
Yeah, you can't say his superpower is wealth.
Yeah.
He's rich. Barry Allen can steal any amount of wealth. Cyborg in the story can steal any amount of wealth.
Money, yeah.
Wonder Woman is a Themysciran goddess, and Superman is powered by the sun. Atlantean, what's his name? Waterman.
Waterman.
The point is, these guys, him saying, "I'm rich," to any of those 5 other people in the team is stupid. Him trying to be tough around any of the other guys, him even trying to flex on a technological level around any of those guys, it's all stupid. The only thing he's got as a character is his intelligence. It must be that he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you want to write the smartest guy in the room, you better have someone really fucking smart on your writing team. And I wouldn't want that job. But I know there are guys out there who are guys and girls out there who are fucking ridiculously smart. So surely at some point in the thing you go, oh, he's the world's greatest detective. Okay, we got to get someone in who can come up with some shit that people have like mind-blowing intelligence to show that this guy is it. And you just sit them down, some fucking like Gary Kasparov, some chess master, Magnus Carlsen or whoever. You sit them down and go, what would you do at this point?
That's a good idea.
And he's like, cool. Well, what I would do is maneuver the pieces like this. Thank you, bud. Here's $500,000. Thank you for the ideas.
Yeah.
And we're going to put that in.
And here's a screenwriting credit.
Here's a screenwriting credit. Like your strategic mind has put us in the frame of mind of the world's greatest detective, or fuck it, the world's greatest detective. Find,
go to the guys who run the fucking behavioral analysis unit at the FBI. Like the guys from Mindhunter.
Yeah, that's who you need.
Yeah,
to write this shit. That's who you need to make Batman a reasonable cog in the machine,
and that he fits because he's the only member of the Justice League who's a human.
Right.
And the other thing at this point as well is you realise just how powerful Superman is. He, take it off. He is taking on the entirety of the Justice League and fucking wiping the floor with him. And that's why you can't have him in most of this movie, because he ends the film in 25 minutes. And he does. Like, when we get to the end, he turns up and he whoops that ass. Like, he kicks, what's his name, Steppenwolf's ass in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
You have him in this movie earlier than that, and even having him then fly off and with Lois and go to the farm for a little bit and sort of come back to himself.
Who he is,
You have to do that, otherwise you don't have time to set up what the conflict is, because they don't know that he's coming back. They're like, oh shit, we've resurrected him now, he's pissed off.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with having a god in your fiction.
Yeah.
Because even the god that our Judeo-Christian belief system posits has limits. The conflict between a supposedly omnipotent, omniscient, and all-good being and evil existing in the world is a tale as old as Genesis, one of the oldest books in human existence. And so it's not like you can't play with that tension. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. One of the original stories is about that.
Yeah.
I don't buy this thing about, you can't use Superman. I don't buy it. It's just a failure of the writing of the villain.
Yeah. It's writing of the villain as well. Like, it's not necessarily... Because Superman, he is, infallible. He is omniscient. Like, and we create gods all the time, If you believe in something strong enough, you create that as a god for yourself. Yeah, the failure of the writing of the villain is how... Because that's how you test a hero.
Precisely.
Yeah. So evil Superman's always a good idea. Check out Superman 3. And then we jump into part 3, which is titled in the film Something Darker, which is a line that is said by Batman about, what will eventually be in the epilogue of this film, where it's post-apocalyptic. But we're going to call it... Yeah, we're back on the farm, smelling Superman, and then there's a new plan being formed, which is always the way that you start your third act, basically. And they're going to go and stop the Uni from being formed at Steppenwolf's compound. Just thinking about Henry Cavill, it's a shame he won't get another punt at this character. I think he's quite good, and he was getting to the point where, if you gave him another Superman film, he might be able to do something with it. I don't know.
So that's it? What do you mean he's not getting another punt?
He's not doing it anymore. He's
by his own choice?
No, I think they're going another way. That recently Warner Brothers announced that they're going to be hiring an African-American actor and an African-American director to steer the ship of a new Superman movie, but it hasn't been discussed whether or not it's going to be Clark Kent or if it's an alternate universe Superman or whatever. That's a great choice.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting way to tell a different type of story. I mean, what kind of story can you tell about not only a person who is, a minority on planet Earth and all those problems that he has to deal with, but he's also a minority on planet Earth by the fact that he's also an alien. So what kind of stories can you tell there? That's that's interesting territory. That's new fertile ground. But it just means that Henry Cavill's got to go and he's going to be Highlander instead.
Which is great. I love Henry Cavill in The Witcher.
I haven't seen that. Is it worth a look?
It's very silly.
Oh, good.
And I loved it.
Oh, awesome.
And I particularly loved Henry Cavill in it. I haven't loved anything he's done until that.
Really?
Really. I mean, he's an amazing Superman, but he's fucking awful as Clark Kent.
He doesn't do Clark Kent.
No, he doesn't do Clark Kent. This is the problem. The archetypal Clark Kent is your man Christopher Reeve, whose acting is so subtle. His way to kind of shrink into the Clark Kent role. And then here's something that's always bothered me about any depiction of Superman. Have we discussed this? Why is Superman jacked? It doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeve is the perfect portrayal of Superman.
He just looks like a 90s, 60s jock.
He's fairly fit.
Yeah.
He's just
an
fairly
athletic
fit.
dude.
He's athletic. He's not podgy. He's just normal. If anything, Superman should be kind of paunchy and fat. What it means is that his secret identity is not plausible. Because I'm sorry, but Henry Cavill's a ridiculous looking human. Like, he's a specimen.
Yeah.
He's insane looking.
He's made out of marble.
He looks like he looks like what I imagine maybe knights once looked like, which is why he's so perfect for this Witcher stuff. And Highlander is going to be amazing in. I really hope they go back to basics on it.
Yeah.
And just go, well, it's some weird fluke, some weird historical and cosmic anomaly has turned certain people on the planet into immortals. And we don't know why, but they're from everywhere and they're like ancestral warriors, which is what kind of the first movie is like, right?
It's exactly, and it's not explained. They retconned it in the second one and said, they're aliens, that's why they're immortal.
Yeah, didn't like that.
And then the third one retconned it again and went, never mind. Don't pay any attention to what we just did in that last one.
Messy. So yeah, I really just hope they go medieval aesthetic and, draft in, ancient warriors from all over the planet who are trying to find each other in whatever era you choose. Like this guy's from, he's wielding his claymore back in medieval Scotland, but then come the modern era when it's much easier to track each other down due to modern transport, it's turning into these.
That's the thing, though.
Duels all over the world.
How can you be a Highlander when you can be geo-tracked because of your phone? Absolutely, yeah. No, it'd be interesting to like plant it in a more modern time. I do hope they do some flashbacky kind of stuff.
Me too.
But
that was the aesthetic that was just so brilliant.
Yeah, like going back and seeing his malaise, like how bored you must get as an immortal. Like that would be cool to sort of play with that a bit more. But and it's also directed by the cat who did the John Wick pictures.
Great, because those guys are fantastic.
Yeah,
those
so they know what they're
doing. They're stunt people, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they started out as stunt coordinators,
which is just it's working well for them.
And as exhausting as John Wick 3 is to watch, because it's just a over 2-hour fight scene.
All right.
Remarkably well put together.
Haven't seen it.
I mean? Oh,
but I'm a fan of John Wick stuff in general. I think
the first one's fun. Like of itself, and then the other two go a little bit far around the corner.
Okay,
into the absurd, where like everybody in New York City is
an assassin.
And is an assassin.
Yeah.
People playing the violin on the street and the homeless dude. All the marginal indigents. Okay,
that's pretty funny.
So Superman's decided he's going to go and help the Justice League. They've gone into battle. And so he goes to the ship, and you hear both of his dads talk to him, and then he comes out with a cool black suit, and then goes down and helps them fight all the aliens from District 9.
So what I thought would be quite fun is if we assembled a fantasy rewrite of how the last battle should play out.
All right.
Everything's on the table. Setting, including villains, actions, everything. I thought we'd just spitball a way better version.
Okay. All right. Do you want to start?
Well,
so let's say it starts with Batman like flying the ship in and opening the barrier so they can all get in, and they're like, Barry has to start running fast.
I think we got to draw it way back.
Okay.
And so I'll just throw something on the table.
Do it.
The character of Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, as I mentioned last time, let's assume that in this version he can manipulate water and the sea creatures. I reckon he also should have not been willing to do battle until he got reports from the sea creatures that there was this coastal sort of derelict area that had been taken over by some fucking alien, and they were pumping pollution into the sea. And so he goes and observes it, and he's like, "It does concern me now."
And that's how the big dome, thing that's over it. In order to power that, it produces some sort of
something like that
excretion,
something like that.
Yeah,
Something that's affecting the sea.
Sure.
So suddenly, Aquaman goes, "I do have stakes in this, actually." So what I wanted to throw on the table is that at some point during this battle, when things seem a little dicey, Aquaman shows up and does his save the day version. He's riding on a giant lobster.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, a giant lobster.
Put some butter on that.
Nice. Nice, dude. Now you're talking.
Says the vegan.
No, I love it. I love that because, man, that's a beautiful thing. Because imagine the parademons, like he's coming with an army of lobsters, and the parademons like start salivating.
That's brilliant, actually.
And it's like a bit of a zombie battle thing where he's riding these things, and when the parademons do manage to overwhelm one of the giant lobsters, they actually start eating it.
That would make them more monsters as well, as opposed to just nothings.
And then Aquaman's just enraged, and he's like bringing in waves crashing down on them to wash them away and stuff like that.
My friend Lobby.
Yeah, dude, imagine the gore.
And
horrible gore of a
water
cute giant lobster being eaten by parademons.
Amazing.
Okay.
So you've already... Here we go. It's up.
So that's my Aquaman offering.
Okay.
All right. Wonder Woman, for example, she's a goddess who can control lightning, right? So is there something that needs to be superpowered by lightning, by the force of lightning, that she could be brought in to do?
Something that will help take down the barrier, or
is there an interrogation that needs to happen again with the whip? Like, why isn't the whip used again?
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. See, you're writing a better film. My one is a little bit different in that it doesn't necessarily talk about what you would do with the Justice League that we have in play. I would leave Superman out of it. I think I said this last week. And just have Martian Manhunter be the Deus Ex Manhunter. Nice. Like, he turns up.
What can he do?
He has all of Superman's powers, but he's also a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
So he could be tricking Steppenwolf into thinking that he is Darkseid. Darkseid's return.
Oh, that's excellent.
Distracting him.
Yeah, because surely, I mean, okay, you want it. Snyder's agenda is always to resurrect the Snyderverse, but surely it doesn't make sense for Darkseid to be such a wuss. The portal's open. Surely he thinks he's got a chance against
these dudes.
Just
because he killed Steppenwolf, who you've been giving shit to the entire film.
Right. He gives up way too easily.
Yeah.
So surely there's...
Something sequel setup.
Right, but I'm sorry, but Darkseid is not intimidating in the slightest.
And we talked about it last week, about how the idea of the anti-life theorem is fucking terrifying. Like, hearing a goddamn equation in your head. In the comics, they put helmets on people that are broadcasting this thing, and it turns them into mindless slaves.
Right.
And that's horrific.
Well, and also, so this is it. This is the Hail Mary, right? I mean, this is it. If he gets this thing back, he dominates the whole universe.
Yeah.
Why does he give up so easy? It's bonkers to me. Anyway, but I love that. I love the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, the idea of Martian Manhunter coming in,
deceiving him and pulling trickery.
Yeah, and his weakness is fire, so you could play with that as well. Like,
whose weakness?
Martian Manhunter's.
He's got a fire weakness.
He's actually afraid of it.
Okay, cool.
So you could do that. I think. And as far as Batman goes, I don't generally go in for Batman fighting like aliens and otherworldly stuff. I feel like it kind of doesn't play in his strength. Like, Batman on a spaceship sounds weird.
Yeah.
Just by the nature of what Batman is as a character. But I think it works here. Like, putting Batman in, him fighting a bunch of parademons, like using his batarangs and this kind of thing, and taking over one of their weapons. Like, he's a soldier. He would do that. He would just, like, him punching people in the face is kind of okay.
Yeah. But he's also the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, he's not really detecting anything.
So what I'd love him to do in my fantasy version is need to do some stuff like that.
In my fantasy version,
come on,
he's nude.
Yeah, a bit of fat fleck.
I like the shake he did.
Just wobbles.
He wobbles. He do.
Yeah, what I'd love to see Batman have to do in that part is, everyone else is using their superpowers to fend off stuff, and he has to carry out some sort of minute investigation to discover some things as a detective.
Yeah.
Like, for example, where is the mother box hidden? You know, he's got to carry out things that mustn't be disturbed, so everyone's trying to keep chaos away from him.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it. Yeah, we need to protect him while he sneaks in.
Protect him while he does something detective and sneaky.
Yep.
Cyborg. Well, where can we go from here? Flash, I think, is utilized in an imaginative way.
Great way, yeah.
So we'll leave Flash as he is. He's doing something.
And he is the end game. Like once he, you know, works up the inertia, the centrifugal energy, whatever it is, to you know, go and do what he needs to do. That's great.
But they're in some kind of city block. Couldn't the motherboards be hidden somewhere, and Batman has to discover exactly where they are? And he uses his detective skills. The motherboards. So Cyborg's my biggest one.
Yeah.
My biggest failure of the imagination for me. Like, just throwing him in there and getting him to... The technological manipulation that he does in this thing is, like, twice. So once he uses the crawler, which is Batman's vehicle. Is that what it's called?
The Nightcrawler.
Something like that. And then he manipulates the mother boxes, which is like alien technology that he's a part of anyway.
He's got DNA.
So we never see the fruition of the thing that was promised in the imagination of what Cyborg could do.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that is the most gigantic failure for me.
Yeah.
Because the basically what you've got in Cyborg's character is he is the Kurtzweilian singularity. You know, he is the god in the machine of artificial intelligence. Being able to manipulate all of global silicon civilization into one being, one all-powerful being. To my mind, on planet Earth, Cyborg's the most powerful being in the movie.
Yeah.
Given what he could potentially do.
And given the time in which the movie is set as well, in terms of its, you know, what it is saying about technology and the technology available to him.
Precisely. Yeah. So that's just as an aside, that's another reason why making Batman supposedly the technological guy is really stupid when there's a guy like Cyborg right there.
Yeah.
So
he's too busy having angst. He's being angsty.
Yeah, they all are. So then Cyborg, here's something that I imagine is him, you know, manipulating armies of generated conglomerations of human technology that are like self-generating monstrous army vehicles, like what are the huge things called from X-Men? Sentinels. Imagine him bringing in like an army of Sentinels and smashing parademons down, you know, or smashing down the wall, that wall thing with a giant TV monster just made of TVs and phones.
That's fucking awesome.
That would be cool, right?
Such a baller idea. That's a Grant Morrison idea. Speaking of him again, it's like
the
absurdity within the reality of the story.
So you want to see this stuff play out, and I don't think Cyborg even does any punching. He kind of flies in and does his job. But it's such a boring job.
Shoot a few dudes with his arm.
Imagine if that wasn't their plan at all. They were just going there to assault. He was assembling an army of technological sentinels to attack it. Yep. It's like, that's your job. And then suddenly they get there. Batman discovers the mother boxes, and then Cyborg realizes he shares DNA with us. He's like, guys, I can do something here. It's like, okay. And then Batman, the genius, the brilliant thinker, goes, all right, change your plan. Barry, you run in a circle.
Yeah.
Cyborg, you lock in. Everyone else, keep everybody clear. We're doing this.
That's screenwriting 101. The first plan shouldn't work, and then you revise and get a new plan. So cool. Yeah, absolutely. That's a fucking great idea.
And then everything goes to shit, finally, anyway.
Yeah.
And then Superman comes in and saves the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, Superman's turned up at this point.
Right.
And he's, things are about to happen. And then, like, Barry's been hurt. He gets shot. And he can't get there in time, and the unity forms, and everything blows up, and then Barry runs backwards in time.
Cool.
Now, this is a really interesting use of the power, and I think the most interesting part of the film, and the part of the film that actually has a nice message. Barry sees all this happen, and the devastation, and you see him vibrate his molecules so that he can't be touched by this explosion.
Wow.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I did.
And then he's like, I'm going to have to run faster than I've ever run before. And he starts running. And first he starts talking to his dad, which is quite weird. But but then the world starts to reform around him, literally under his feet.
Yeah.
The visual of it is everything you want in a Flash picture, and that's happening. And then he says, in quite well delivered, and I'm not a fan of Ezra Miller in this film, like, as a human being, as an actor, he is really good in, we need to talk about Kevin, but, and he's like, it's all, is that him? Yeah, I think it is. And it's all reforming and all that stuff. And he says, let me just make sure I get this line right. Yeah, make your own future, make your own past. It's all right now. Like, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful sentiment and a great use of his abilities.
Yeah, good. Yes, so is that them covered?
Yeah.
You know, that's all the Justice League covered.
That's such a great, like, you're right. And it is, that would bring it back to comic book writing where the job, I mean, Barry Allen in particular is like, how do you write a guy who, like, solves all his problems by running fast? How do you write a guy who is a god, who is infallible? Like, Superman's a really difficult character to write, you know, and the way that you've just done them all. Superman can turn up then and just do his Superman shit and just punch some shit, you know.
Right. I'm sure there's other opportunities for Superman too. But yeah, just out of the so Flash used pretty well, but out of the other remaining 4, is it Batman, Aquaman,
Waterman,
Batman, Waterman, Fastman, and Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman's, yes.
Wonder Woman's. They're not at all used well.
No, it is. It's the punch fest. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And so bringing them up to a similar level, that's all that would be required. And I think, you know, we sat around and spitballed for 10 minutes, and I think we came up with some stuff that was
just some more interesting ideas.
Really, really cool and fun to watch.
Yeah.
And would have been, like, kind of mind-blowing to watch.
Especially once everything that they do all connects to Batman going, the plan has changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got it. Like, he's a genius.
Yeah.
He's a genius of planning.
Yeah.
And so...
He's a tactician of the highest degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, man. I mean, there you go. I say release the Hugo cut. So we're coming to a close now on this entire film. A couple of cool little points towards the end there. Again, we have the great Barry Allen scene. Superman wails on Steppenwolf in an aggressive fashion. He is ground and pounding him like a goddamn MMA fighter with laser vision, and then he pitches the body. Oh no, wait. I think Superman throws the body, Aquaman spears it, and then as he spears it, holding it up on his trident, his mother's trident, holding it up, as the portal opens and there's Darkseid and all of his homies, and then Wonder Woman jumps in the air and cuts Steppenwolf's head clean off, and it falls through the portal, and Darkseid stands on it and mushes it. Spectacular. I loved it.
A good moment.
A good moment. A good use of her ability.
Good.
And there's that great part in Batman vs Superman where, like, they're talking about, you know, fucking, what is it, Doomsday's just come down, and he's like, it's a monster. She's like, I've fought monsters before. Of course she would. She's a 5,000-year-old Amazonian goddess. She's fought centaurs and all kinds of shit. Like, she would. She knows for a fact that if you're fighting a monster, cutting off its head typically works.
Yeah.
I mean, fighting anything cut off its head typically works.
Typically.
You know, so
Except
Hydras, unless you get is there one head on the Hydra you can get?
I can't remember how they did it in the end. How does Hercules kill the Hydra?
How did it happen?
Can't remember.
Peach doesn't know either. She's just meowing at me. She hates it when we mention Hercules. I don't know why. And I do like them standing there at the end. Like, I mean, you're right. Darkseid could just step through and wail on any of them and completely, you know, lay them to waste. But I do like them all like, turning around, looking up, and just being like, "Yeah, come get it, bitch." You know, like,
right.
We're waiting for you. He turns around and says, you know, we'll do it the old way, which is basically send our giant army in to have a punch fight.
Sure. I don't... I just think that's another example of Darkseid, just being set up really in a really unintimidating fashion.
Yeah.
Like, that isn't...
He's just a big gleek glop.
Silly.
Yeah.
You've got a portal right there. You're never going to get another better opportunity. He's got an army arrayed there. If he throws 5,000 troops through the portal at that moment, he can overwhelm.
He will, absolutely.
And
all the boxes are still there.
And then step through
Nothing's happened.
And start fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And the fact that he doesn't is just kind of odd.
And he doesn't really need the boxes in the end. He's after the anti-life.
Precisely. So the fact of him saying, we'll do it what did he say?
We'll do it the old ways.
Old way.
As in, send a bunch of soldiers through to have a stab fest.
Silly.
Very silly.
He's never going to get a better opportunity than right there and then.
Yeah.
Like, they just bested one figure and a bunch of parademons.
Yeah. My favourite bit in this last little section here is when the portal's closed and there's, Darkseid and Granny Goodness and Desaad who's standing there, and Desaad just turns to Darkseid and is basically like, see, I told you he was shit. Like, he's just like, he's been given this cat so much guff the entire film.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's a piece of shit.
Poor Steppenwolf.
Should have listened to me. Poor Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And now we're going to jump into the epilogue, the final little section, which is called A Father Twice Over, or as I like to call it, Who's Your Daddy? So this is where Cyborg reconstructs the tape deck that was destroyed by his dad, and Joe Morton basically, voiceovers his way out of this film. We see Barry talking to his dad. We see, Batman and Clark at Martha's house, and Batman's bought the house and
bought the bank, dude.
Bought the bank in the ultimate cuck move. Victor is at his folks' grave. Batman's standing on the tank from Dark Knight Returns, which is a classic case of Snydering.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned it. I was going to forget. Yes.
Classic case of Snydering.
Classic case of Snydering, but it's not really used.
No.
It can come back.
It's people going, hey.
Yeah, it's not really used badly. It's just shown.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as so many things from Batman.
It's just completely ripped
where
off.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck, we'll never get that again.
Be sure to have a look on the page as well, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and have a look at those old episodes. There's 3 about Batman vs Superman with me and Hugo from like 2016.
Yeah, we went hard.
Oh man, great episodes. Fan favourites, I'd say. We've got the Flash running around smiling, which is great. Wonder Woman's holding an arrow on a mountain, whatever. Superman opens his chest thing. We've got the black ass still. He flies off. We get that stupid end scene with your man, Jesse. And he reveals to Deathstroke who Batman is, which I think was going to then set up Affleck's film. And that's, in the ether now. That's a nothing.
So who's Deathstroke?
Deathstroke, the Terminator, is Slade Wilson, and he is a hitman. Mm-hmm. He was also the leader of the Teen Titans, or he was their mentor until he went bad, and he just goes around causing a ruckus. And he's sort of like Bullseye from the Marvel universe.
Just an expert assassin,
amazing assassin.
Okay,
and he has beef with Batman.
Because of the Teen Titans thing?
I don't know, actually. He just doesn't like that. In this version, I think it's because he took his eye. But they kind of, there's an aside to that. They allude to it.
Okay.
But
I like Joe Manganiello.
Oh, he's great. Joe's awesome.
Are we going to see this character?
No.
We're not going to see it.
No, I don't think so.
Tragedy.
But you do see him in the future times.
Oh, he's part of that team.
He's part of that. He's part of the group. Yeah, I mean, we get the end of the film, which is was the reshot stuff of Martian Manhunter coming down and talking to Batman, saying, he's like, we need to form a Justice League. And he's like, I just spent 4 hours doing that, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And you get the wonderful Harry Lennox again, and then he flies off, and then we get the Mad Max Justice League, 100% better movie. Like, where is this flick? Superman is a disciple of Darkseid because somebody killed Lois or whatever, and it's Batman, a bunch of rogue motherfuckers out there. That's a cool idea. That's something I haven't seen.
Maybe cool.
Yeah.
It all depends on how it's set up
on its execution.
And this no, because I'd say the execution is operating on what looked like a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
And the execution is pretty convincing. But it's devoid of setup. Just like, here is the opening of a mystery box. How did we get here? I'm going to let you guess.
Yeah.
And you want to see how we got there? Better give me a prequel. It's not even a bloody sequel now. We're going to need prequels to get to make sense of the epilogue.
Yeah.
That's very frustrating. That's not good. That's like shit.
Well, shit is the opposite of good, so that makes sense. I can't disagree with you, and also as far as the Aquaman's dead, and so much of it that you don't see.
Imagine being that flippant with these characters.
With the story, yeah.
Just like, oh, he's dead, and that guy's dead. Are we going to see it? It's like, nah, you'll need to bully Warner Brothers into doing more of these movies.
I think
get another hashtag going, you idiots. Well, otherwise, what?
Hashtag Restore the Snyder Cut is all over the place.
I'm sure it is.
It's everywhere.
I'm sure it is.
And I made a mistake as well. I said that it's like Batman comes out a very svelte looking Ben Affleck. This is obviously part of the reshoots, and he's lost quite a bit of weight.
Which makes sense in a Mad Max post-apocalypse.
Well, no. I'm talking about this is where he comes out and sees the Martian Manhunter, and I was like, that happens first. It doesn't, because that's the end of the film. Martian Manhunter flying into camera is the end of the film.
We get the Mad Max bit first?
First, because it finishes with Superman flying off into the sky, and then it cuts to black, and then this nightmare thing happens, and then it's Batman waking up again. So it's another one of his nightmares. I forgot about that. Luckily, I had notes.
Oh, God, really? So that wasn't even...
So it's not even anything.
That doesn't even happen. That's a dream.
Unless he's prescient, which is not the case.
Don't use dream sequences. They're bad.
Yeah.
They're not good. They're a waste of time. You get invested in something, and then you have to turn back and go, oh, it was a dream. Like, you're always told... Were you guys told this? This was the classic from story writing class. It is such a trope.
Was it the same...
That Neil Gaiman put it in some of his comics, but that's because he's educated in Britain as well, so I don't know if it's everywhere else.
Okay.
The one rule that the teacher tells you you're not allowed to do in story writing class is end with, and then I woke up.
Yeah, well, it's and it works reverse as well. Don't ever start something with your character waking up either.
Really?
Yeah.
But I think this is worse.
Oh, it absolutely is, because it completely negates everything that's been achieved.
So you got invested in this thing, and then it was just a dream. It's like, okay, there's a reason why we think that dreams are very, very interesting for the individual. There's a reason why you can bore people to tears.
Explaining your dreams.
Explaining your dreams.
I don't know. I don't see what you saw.
This is just your brain trying to file everything that's happened in the day. I'm not. I literally am not in. I can't be interested in.
I don't care that there was a tunnel between your house and the primary school room that you lived in, and you had to crawl through bananas to get there. But yeah, I don't disagree. It's kind of. It's an exercise in futility, like doing this, especially if you're not going to then go on and have more of this story and have it just be a dream sequence. It completely negates its worth. Yeah. I do think it looks great. It's well shot. They use these tilt shift lenses. Tilt shift lenses narrow the field of available in focus area, and gives us this really weird sort of bowing of the image.
Okay.
And it's just nice technically looking. But I think the better version of this is the animated film Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, which starts with John Constantine and goes into battle against Darkseid, and the Justice League lose. Batman gets taken hostage. He becomes a slave. Superman gets the S insignia tattooed on him in kryptonite, so he loses all his powers.
Oh.
All this ball of shit happens, and people get killed and torn in half, and it's a really interesting way to take a bunch of characters who you're very, very familiar with and put them in scenarios and have them use their powers in really unusual ways. Like Constantine and the demon Etrigan, stuck in a bar. Etrigan has stopped rhyming because he just can't be bothered anymore, and he's just drunk all the time, and the world's ended around them. And then in comes, Superman and Raven, and they have to get them to come on this action adventure journey. So Constantine's using his magic powers to get them to places and reveal information and all that stuff. It's just a much, much better version of this. So they're not giving me any money, but plug for Warner Brothers Animation, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War.
But that's based on a comic book, is it?
No. There is a Justice League
really good.
Last Justice League Dark comic book. Absolutely, there is.
Okay.
I don't know if they've done this. It's the second in there was another Justice League Dark picture as well.
Okay.
This is the second one. We have a horrible Hallelujah cover over the credits. He seems to love his covers, and we'll talk about that in our Army of the Dead episode. But I think the main thing that I always come back to, especially when it comes to stuff like this, is I fucking love stories. I love storytelling. I love reading them. and thinking of them and writing them and being involved in cinema. I just love stories. They're my favourite thing. And I will take a bad story over no story at all. And I don't think this is a bad story. I think this is a good story told badly. And in some cases told fantastically and epically. And then third act, no one uses their powers very well. Hugo writes a better version in front of me on camera. Hugo just told me a great story. So I still got out of Justice League, the Snyder Cut, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Justice League 2, Part 6. I still got out of it what I wanted to get out of it because I got more story from Hugo. So I think the bottom line is I will always appreciate someone trying to create something from nothing and tell me about it. I think that's a remarkable thing that human beings have been able to do since we were, could draw on walls and hadn't discovered fire yet. Parting shots, final thoughts?
Yeah, well,
a star rating? I don't know.
I don't know about a star rating, but I talked a lot of smack about it, but I don't think I talked too much smack about Zack in this one.
No.
Because I really don't put any of the flaws in this, and there are many and innumerable flaws in it. I really put down on the writing team. I think that Zack could have... Zack's a visual... he's visually excessive. That's his watchword, right? Excess.
Mm.
So it's up to the writers, I think, to really push him to create things. And one thing that I would come back to is that Ready Player One, which I watched recently, and I was expecting I would really dislike it, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's great.
I absolutely loved it. I loved
so
it.
Much
it really
fun.
hung together. And one of the ways it hung together was in the visual excess, which was at times completely bonkers, off the rails bonkers, but really fun and really enjoyable. If you're going to pull off something like this Justice League thing, I think that the writers needed to push Zack Snyder into those kind of realms. We get an epic battle with the mythological creatures, and they already best Darkseid in that battle, which I think was a massive mistake. But it's a pretty epic battle. I think that surely the final battle had to best that somehow. There were lots of ways it could have been done, and it was
we went through them.
And it was up to the writers to come up with them, and they didn't. So Zack was just doing what was on the page, and what was on the page really wasn't that good.
Yeah, didn't sing.
But I would say overall, I think I said it at the beginning. Overall, I was happy to be back in Zack Snyder land.
Yeah.
I think that the streaming platform was the ideal location for it.
Absolutely.
It was great. I had no commitment. I went for the free trial, and I kept it. I've kept it for a month, so I've ended up dropping whatever $40 on Binge. So good marketing tactic. Well done. And I think that it was great. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself watching it.
See, and that's the bottom line. As long as you enjoy. Did you enjoy yourself, Peaches? Did you like Justice Leagues?
She got lots of cuddles. She got 4 hours of cuddles.
Yep.
Spread over several days on the couch. So Peaches was a fan.
Big
of
fan.
Zack Snyder's.
Big Zack Snyder fan over here. She's on all the message boards. But before we leave today, the Justice Leagues, we're going to do a little quiz the way that we used to, because goddamn if it ain't too much fun. And the quiz it's a Zack Snyder quiz. That's what it's all about. It's all about the man himself. And what we're going to call it, instead of just calling it the Zack Snyder quiz, and because all of the questions to the quiz are quite easy, we're going to call it the Zack Snyder quiz. Okay, so we're going to start the Zack Snyder quiz, and for each one that you get right, you are awesome. Great. So there's no prizes, there's no end game, there's no results.
There's just the threat of failure.
There's just the threat of failure and looking like a right knob to 11 people who are going to watch this.
Oh dear. All right, here we go.
Okay, so question 1. In 2004, Zack Snyder directed a pretty decent remake of Dawn of the Dead. What is the name of his new zombie-based film? I wrote these before we decided to do this film. Released on Netflix very recently.
It's a furniture-based movie called Armoire of the Dead.
That's wrong. It's Army.
Oh,
What a dick.
I really misunderstood that movie.
I think he might have been being... You really did if you thought it was about furniture.
I was expecting a lot more furniture in it.
No, I will give you that point because clearly you're being capricious. Okay. As usual. Zack Snyder directed an animated film about owls.
Fucking hell.
Name that film, and for an extra point, can you spell the last word? So it's something, colon...
It's called something... I can't remember.
You were just raving about this
I know, but
picture.
I don't remember the title of it. There's the word legend in it.
That's the first one.
Legend, is that the title?
Legend of the something.
I can't remember.
Oh my god.
I can't remember.
I'm so disappointed.
The name that's coming to me is only Ra's al Ghul.
That's not... It's so close,
and
too.
It's something like that. The Legend of Ra's al Ghul or something like that.
Very close. It's raining. If you can hear that, it's raining. I just realised it's gotten quite loud. Legends of the Guardians.
That's right.
The Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Okay.
And Ga'Hoole is spelled G-A, one of them, H-O-O-L-E.
Okay. Good film.
Apparently that's the case. I haven't watched it myself, but I do like owls.
I liked it.
They're a hoot.
Oi!
Proper joke there for you, ladies and gentlemen. No swearing.
They're not flirting out there now, are they?
They're not flirting.
No.
What do you mean flirting?
Because it's too wet to woo.
That's dumb. That's dumb. I love it. That's the best. It's too wet to woo. That's brilliant. Okay. Fuck. I've lost the track altogether now. Hold on. That's so funny. Okay. Question 3. I'm still laughing from the last one. Okay. How old was Zack Snyder when he directed his first feature film, which would have been the Dawn of the Dead remake?
Ah, good one.
Ballpark. Like, ballpark, I'll give it to you.
All right. I'm going to go...
Like within 5 years, like do between this and this.
All right. I'm going to go that he was around 25.
Really?
That's my guess.
25.
Yeah.
Miles off.
Miles off.
Homeboy was 37.
Okay, wow.
He's in his 50s now.
Respect.
He's just very fit because he does CrossFit and stuff.
He does CrossFit. He keeps himself very trim.
Yeah.
And
he eats chicken bone shakes or whatever.
And you know what? To me, he seems like a youthful.
Oh yeah, he's got some.
He's just a youthful
energy that way. Yeah.
He's youthful, and I don't want to. I'm not using that in any way disparagingly.
Mm.
He's young spirited.
Yeah.
In a positive way.
And he loves what he does. You know, there's no denying that. He directed video clips before moving over to features, but for whom? There's quite a few different options, and I'll give you the point if you get any one of them. I've got 5 written down here.
Okay. I think I know one of them.
Okay.
And I think one of them is Soul Asylum.
I don't have that one here.
I might be wrong then. And that's the only one I remember thinking I knew.
Well, I know for a fact that I don't know about Soul Asylum. I will look that up and give you the point
it's
if that's
quite
the
possibly
case.
not.
ZZ Top, Rod Stewart, Morrissey, and My Chemical Romance. Okay, so Zack Snyder's second directorial effort was also a comic book property. Name the film and the year of its release.
I think that was 300.
300 is correct.
And I'm going to go with 2006.
Oh, shit! That's the double! 2006! Yes. Amazing. That's really well done, because it could have been fucking anyone. Zack Snyder is an avid fan of which fitness craze?
He is, like every good Christian, a fan of CrossFit.
I don't think that's what CrossFit's about, Hugo, but whatever.
It should be.
I'm not doing
fitness for the Lord.
Fitness for Jesus, because you got to be ready for when he comes back, and you have to beat back the hordes of hell with him.
You bloody well do.
Because it's like Robin Williams said, he's not come back as a carpenter, he's coming back as a sheet metal worker. He's going to fuck motherfuckers up.
It's true. He's coming back with a sword in his mouth. Get on your CrossFit.
Do it
quickly,
and eat them proteins. In 2009, Zack Snyder directed a film adaptation of Alan Moore's Watchmen. Now, Moore famously doesn't allow his name on films that are based, like his credits. Doesn't allow his name in the credits of films based on his work. So who was given a writing credit along with David Hayter? Or Hayter.
Oh, okay. Dave Gibbons.
That's correct. The artist Dave Gibbons.
The artist Dave Gibbons.
What is the name of Zack Snyder's production company?
Ah, good one. Okay, God, because it used to be Legendary, right?
No, Legendary's the company that produces his stuff.
Okay. Because
but his in particular
really stood out to me when it came up on the credits of both of these films.
Yeah.
It's called something like Hammer and Chisel.
No.
Huh?
No.
Okay, what's it called?
Cruel and Unusual Films.
Okay.
And I remember sending Hugo a picture of the poster for Batman versus Superman before we shot our episode, knowing that we were going to do it. In the poster and in the credits, it was Cruel and Unusual Films, and I'm like, geez, they're broadcasting it a bit early.
Yeah. That was Cruel and
Unusual. That was Cruel and Unusual. Well, you didn't get the point, so fuck you. That'd be a good soundbite. Okay, and final question. Here it is. What is his middle name? I'm going to give you some ideas.
I have no idea. You're going to give multiple.
I'm going to do multiple choices. Okay. Is it Edward, Philip, Cal, or Jensen?
I'm going to go with the last one, Jensen.
No, it's Edward, you fuck dick.
Yes, okay.
Horrible. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our 3-part roundup, I would like to call it, of the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, or Justice League cuts up the Snyders, or what's it actually supposed to be called? You're supposed to call it something in particular. Warner Brothers is like, no, it's Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, that's appropriate. You know, I think that first of all, they wanted to get rid of the reference to the hashtag, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to move away from that to try to prove that they weren't being bullied.
Mm-hmm.
But also, him getting to release this, as much as I think he's been cynical in a lot of places in the edit, is a form of justice.
Yeah. Especially after everything.
It is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah. It is giving justice what his just deserts. Let him have it, Zack.
Yeah.
There you go. That's justice. That's a form of justice.
It is absolutely him, and I don't fault him again on his vision, because he is a great tactician of the cinematic arts, and I really appreciate that. And I don't even have a problem with the story, bad or good, whatever. It's still a story, like I said. The one thing I do say is that I feel like he should be more vocal to the hordes of incel, apoplectic fans of his who just hate on anybody who isn't behind it. And even to the point where when this film came out, there was a lot of these people online saying, don't let people jump on the bandwagon now. We always knew it was going to be great. All these people are just fucking, wagon jumpers. I'm like, well, fucking, we're on your side now. Like, what do you want? That's the other thing. I wish he would come out and say, dudes, my dudes. No. Hey, my dudes.
Yeah.
I'm making Justice League, man. Just enjoy yourselves. Next one's about zombies. See you later. Like, that'd be really cool.
No. He weaponized them.
Yeah.
He allowed. So he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
He benefited from their rage.
Benefited so much, he walked all his way into a $90 million film that he was going to make after Dawn of the Dead, apparently. Army of Dead was an idea he had way back then. $90 million picture with Netflix. And we're going to talk about that one next week. So we'll see you all. Come on back now. Come on back now next week for Army of the Dead.
Now, you hear?
And it'll be me and Hugo, because he's officially the co-star now.
Armoire of the Dead.
It's a chair you sit in, and it comes alive and kills you, and then you also turn into a chair.
It's the amour of the dead. It's really romantic.
The love of the dead. That's the French version of the film, where it's just a bunch of goddamn beautiful zombies smoking garouans and having sex while they, eat croissants. That's stereotypical.
It's la mère of the dead. It's the mother of the dead.
Okay. We've got a whole bunch of better movies, so come on back next week and you can check them out. Thanks very much. We'll see you then. What I'd like to have now is some of the end of news music, ding, ding, ding,
nice.
and the lights go down.
Yeah, nice.
See if I can recreate that. Yeah.